The shocking secret that ruined our family reunion. Before we begin the story, make sure to subscribe to our channel and never miss more incredible stories every day. That woman in the slideshow isn't Grandpa's nurse, Denise. She's his daughter. I said it standing beside the buffet table, holding a folder so tightly the paper edges cut my fingers. 23 relatives went silent at once. Denise's smile stayed on her face for half a second too long, like a stage light that hadn't turned off yet. My mom dropped her fork. Jamal muttered, "Maya, what did you do?" And I remember thinking, not what I did. What she made me find. I'm Maya Torres, 29, and I work as a public library archivist in Columbus. Which sounds boring until you need someone who notices when a family story has been edited 3 different ways. I catalog letters, photographs, newspapers, city directories, small details most people skip. I came to our reunion at the lake house because my grandfather had been dead 11 months, because Denise called it a healing weekend, and because my mom asked me, in that careful voice she uses when she wants something from me. I almost listened. The lake house mattered. It was where we learned to swim, where my grandmother taught us dominoes, where every ugly thing got covered with grilled corn and group photos. Denise said we were gathering to honor tradition and clean up routine estate paperwork before dinner on Saturday. Routine. That word is what people like Denise use when they don't want witnesses to read. If I spoke up, I could blow up the sale Denise was pushing, embarrass my mother, and split the family for good. If I stayed quiet, people I loved could sign away property rights they didn't understand, and a woman who should have been in our family photos would stay erased because silence was more convenient. By the time I opened my mouth, I already knew the signatures, the dates, and the amount Denise moved through a post office box none of us were supposed to see. I didn't know which loss I could live with. Then Denise reached for the projector remote and smiled at me like a threat. If you've never met someone like my Aunt Denise, imagine a wedding planner mixed with a press secretary. She could set a table for 30, fix a hem, and rewrite a family argument before dessert. When I was little, I thought that was magic. When I got older, I realized it was control. Every July, whether people were speaking or not, Denise staged a reunion at the lake house. Matching shirts when we were kids. Assigned bedrooms. Candid photos that somehow never included anyone crying, drunk, or angry. When my uncle got arrested for a bar fight, Denise called it a health incident in the family newsletter. When Grandma spent 2 years barely talking to Grandpa, Denise kept seating them together in pictures and saying, "Closer," for the grandbabies. My mom, Carla, went along with all of it. She wasn't cruel. That almost made it worse. She had this reflexive smile, this little exhale, and then she'd say, "Let's not make things harder." I heard that phrase at funerals, graduations, hospital rooms. It became our family religion. Don't lie exactly. Just don't tell the version that makes people uncomfortable. I was the kid who noticed things anyway. I'd point out that the photo album skipped a whole Christmas, or that Grandma's ring changed hands before the story said it did. Denise would tap my forehead and laugh. "Our historian," she'd say. Then she'd redirect me with pie or chores. Jamal, my cousin, called me microfilm after I found his fake report card under a couch cushion at 14. By the time I moved away for work, Denise had upgraded from controlling seating charts to controlling narratives. She handled Grandpa's memorial program, the obituary wording, even which stories people told at the microphone. She called me 3 times before this reunion to remind me to bring that careful memory of mine, which felt like a compliment until I realized she only liked my memory when it served hers. On Friday night, I walked into the lake house and saw the photo wall, and I knew someone had been cut out again. The photo wall took up the entire hallway to the dining room, same as always. Weddings, graduations, fishing trips, babies on blankets, everyone arranged by decade like Denise was curating a museum. That's exactly why the gaps bothered me. There were fresh frames with newly printed labels for years that already had photos, but one section from the early 90s had been rearranged so tightly it looked like it was hiding an outline. "Cute, right?" Denise said behind me, balancing a tray of deviled eggs. "We updated everything." "Who did you take down?" I asked. She smiled without looking at the wall. "No one. Some photos were damaged." Damaged. Another Denise word. The weirdness piled up fast after that. She kept a stack of manila folders by the entry table and stopped every adult who walked in. "Quick signature before dinner tomorrow. she said, tapping the top page. Routine estate acknowledgments so we can keep insurance current. She said it so casually that people signed without reading. She tried it with me too. I glanced down and saw dense paragraphs, a signature line, and a page number that read 1 of 7. Can I take this upstairs and read it? I asked. No need, she said. Nina drafted it. I looked around. Attorney Nina's here? On call, Denise said. Don't start. There was also a locked room now. Grandpa's old office by the back porch had always been cluttered, never locked. Friday evening, I tried the knob while looking for extra napkins. Deadbolt. Denise called across the kitchen. Too fast. Storage. Mold issue. Then Jamal leaned in and whispered. Also, did you notice my cousin from Cleveland isn't here? I turned. He never misses. Denise answered from 10 feet away, which meant she'd been listening. He had work. We're not doing gossip this weekend. By Saturday noon, 3 relatives had signed those folders. Denise kept checking her phone and stepping outside for quiet calls. At one point I heard her hiss. Not before tonight. I told you after the signatures. I told myself families are weird, grief makes people stranger, and Denise had always been intense. Then I saw the envelope with my grandfather's trust name and a woman's unfamiliar address. I found the envelope because Denise used Grandpa's office printer and forgot to clear the tray. A second sheet had jammed halfway out, and when I tugged it free, the paper clipped to it came loose and slid across the floor. Cream-colored envelope, window front, return address from Torres Family Trust Administration, and the mailing label read P.O. Box 418, Marlow, Ohio. No name on the outside, just document enclosed. The part that bothered me was the postmark. It was from 3 days earlier. Grandpa had been dead almost a year. Why was the trust sending documents to a P.O. box in a town none of us lived in? I should have put it back. Instead, I took a picture and slid it into my tote bag under a paperback. Archivist reflex. Don't move the evidence unless you can put it back exactly. Daughter reflex. Don't get caught. That afternoon, Denise gave the reunion welcome speech on the deck like a cruise director. No politics, no old fights, lots of food, she said. Everyone laughed. Then she added, and please sign your forms before the slideshow tonight, so we can finally put the paperwork chapter behind us. Paperwork chapter, not insurance. New phrasing. Later, while setting out drinks, I passed the photo wall again and noticed the first crack that made my stomach turn. One framed picture showed Grandpa at a picnic with a little girl on his shoulders. The caption said Lake Day, 1994, Denise, Carla, and cousins. But the girl's t-shirt had a county fair logo I recognized from my archives work because the fair changed its name in 1998 after a sponsor merger. That shirt did not exist in 1994. I stared so long Jamal came up beside me. You okay? He asked. I pointed. This date is wrong. He squinted. Maya, only you would notice a shirt sponsor. Dates aren't decor, I said. He looked at my face, then at the frame again, and the joke dropped out of him. Before he could answer, Denise called from the dining room. Maya, stop haunting the hallway and sign the packet. And for the first time that weekend, I knew the lies were arranged, not accidental. I didn't sign the packet before dinner, which apparently made me the event. Denise waited until everyone was seated, fried catfish, corn casserole, the good serving bowls, and then she said, too brightly, before we eat, can we thank the relatives who actually help instead of interrogating the decorations? A few people chuckled because they thought she was joking. Then she looked right at me. Maya has been auditing the hallway all day. My mom gave me that warning look. Just let it go. I felt every eye swing my direction. I asked who was missing from the photo wall. No one is missing, Denise said. Some things were updated. Families evolve. Then why are the dates wrong? Jamal coughed into his napkin like he was trying not to laugh, but his eyes stayed on Denise. She set down her glass with a hard click. This is exactly why you don't come around, Maya. You parachute in, act superior, and stir people up over labels. The old me would have folded. I almost did. But then Denise slid a packet toward my mother and pressed a pen into her hand. Carla, page 7, Denise said. We're late. My mom didn't read. She never read when Denise used that tone. What is it again? Consent to administrative sale contingencies, Denise said smoothly. I froze. That was not insurance. Not routine acknowledgments. Sale. What sale? I asked. Denise's jaw tightened. The possible future sale if maintenance becomes impossible. It's standard language. Nina reviewed it. Jamal looked up. Sale of what, Denise? The lake house, eventually, she said, smiling like we were being childish. Don't panic over hypotheticals. The room got loud in that fake normal family way. People asking for butter, pretending not to hear. My mom leaned toward me and whispered, "Please, not tonight." And I hated how frightened she sounded. Later, on the back porch, Jamal closed the screen door and dropped the joking voice. I saw Denise come out of Grandpa's office with a stack of envelopes, he said. She locked it again when she noticed me. I showed him the photo of the trust envelope from my phone. He stared at the address and said, "Maya, we need to get inside that room." Breaking into your dead grandfather's office during a family reunion sounds dramatic when I write it like that. In real life, it was me distracting Denise by asking where the extra ice was while Jamal slid a butter knife into an old interior lock. The deadbolt clicked. He looked at me like, "Well?" And we stepped inside. The room smelled like cedar, printer toner, and the peppermint Grandpa kept in his desk. Denise had cleared half the shelves, which was creepy by itself. She'd left labeled banker's boxes stacked against the wall. Taxes, insurance, photos to sort. Too neat. Real grief looks messy. 2 minutes, Jamal whispered, already checking the top drawer. I went for the file cabinet because Denise always hid important things in plain categories. The drawer marked house maintenance held paint receipts, dock repairs, and then, tucked between invoices, a white envelope with no label. Inside was a folded printout from a DNA company portal. I recognized it before I read the line. Close family match. Predicted half-sibling/grandparent relationship. The account name on the printout wasn't ours. Under it sat 3 letters tied with a rubber band, all addressed to my grandfather in the same handwriting, dates spanning 2009 to 2023. The first started, "I am not asking for your name publicly. I am asking for the medical records you promised." The third said, "Denise told me the trust cannot acknowledge me if Carla contests." My hands went cold. "Found something," Jamal whispered. I shoved the letters at him and kept digging. Behind the file folder was a cashier's check ledger. 6 payments over 2 years, each for $7,500, all to P.O. Box 418, Marlow, Ohio. Memo line, family assistance. Then another document, trust amendment summary, and signed, with a clause highlighted about limiting distributions to named descendants listed in Schedule A. Schedule A? I whispered. Grandpa's trust was never list-based. We heard footsteps in the hallway, and Jamal killed the desk lamp. Then Denise's shadow stopped on the other side of the door. We got out of the office by pure luck. Denise rattled the knob once, blamed the stupid humidity, and got called away when someone asked where the lighter fluid was. Jamal mouthed, "Move," and we slipped out through the porch door with the letters tucked inside my hoodie like I was stealing from my own family. The next morning, while Denise ran a pancake assembly line, Jamal told her he needed gas for the boat. I said I wanted coffee from town. She narrowed her eyes at us, then said, "Be back before 3. Nina may call for signatures." Marlow was 22 minutes away, with one stoplight and a county records office that looked like a repurposed bank lobby. Jamal kept joking because that's what he does when he's scared. I opened the letters again. All 3 were signed only with an initial, R. The return address was always P.O. Box 418. One letter mentioned, "Your daughter Denise visiting the motel near Route 7. Another said, "You promised my birth certificate would not stay sealed forever." At the records office, I requested property filings for the lake parcel and any recent transfer documents. The clerk printed the index. There it was, an affidavit of heirship clarification filed 6 weeks earlier by Denise Whitaker, with a reference to a trust schedule I had never seen. Jamal leaned over my shoulder and whispered, "That sounds fake." "It might be real paperwork used dishonestly," I said. I searched county birth indexes using Grandpa's name and different date ranges. Nothing. On the way out, I remembered the motel note. Route 7 had one old motor lodge left. The desk clerk wouldn't give records, but she glanced at the letterhead and said, "Oh, the lady who used to meet the church woman? Haven't seen them since winter." "The church woman?" Jamal asked. She shrugged. "Tall, perfect hair. Pearl earrings. Bossy." Jamal and I looked at each other. Denise wore pearls like armor, always. Then Jamal tapped the bank code and whispered, "It's the Marlowe branch." The bank wouldn't hand me account records, obviously, but branch codes tell stories if you know what you're looking at. The cashier's checks on Denise's ledger came from First County Bank, Marlowe branch, and the teller line there had been moved to a grocery plaza after 2016. The code matched checks issued after that move. Denise's ledger wasn't some ancient family arrangement. It was recent. Jamal and I sat in the parking lot eating terrible gas station taquitos while I spread photocopies across my lap. "Okay," he said, tapping the letters. "What are we actually looking at? Affair? Blackmail? Secret grandkid?" I hated how plausible all of it sounded. The DNA printout says close family match, likely half-sibling or grandparent relationship. If Grandpa submitted a test through someone else's account, this could be his child or grandchild. The letters mention a birth certificate, medical records, and Denise acting as go-between. That's not random. "So somebody exists," Jamal said slowly. "Somebody family level." "Yeah." We drove to the county library next, because archives people never stop being archives people, even while panicking. The local history room had old newspaper morgues and scanned church bulletins. I searched Grandpa's full name with date ranges and found nothing useful at first. Real estate awards, charity gala photos, a fishing tournament article. Then I searched our grandmother's maiden name plus hospital auxiliary. A 1989 church fundraiser program listed committee members, including Carla, Denise, and I felt that click in my chest I get when separate records start matching. Back in the database, I found a short legal notice from 1990 about a petition to unseal an adoption-related file in neighboring Mercer County. Petition denied. Petitioner initials, R.L., same initials as the letters. Jamal stared at the screen. "Wait, are we saying Grandpa had another daughter?" "I'm saying there's a hidden branch of this family, and Denise knew." That was the what. We still didn't know the why, or how many people had helped bury it. Then my mom called and asked why Denise was telling everyone I'd stolen legal papers. My mom's voice was tight before I even said hello. "Denise says you broke into the office and took confidential documents," Carla said. "Tell me that isn't true." "I took photos because she's lying about the paperwork," I said. "Mom, did you know she's trying to get signatures for a sale contingency on the lake house?" There was a pause long enough to hurt. She said it was only in case taxes go up. "Did you read it?" Another pause. "Maya, this weekend was supposed to calm everyone down." That wasn't an answer. Jamal drove while I called attorney Nina Brooks from the number on an old trust memo I'd photographed after Grandma's funeral. I expected voicemail. She picked up on the third ring, clipped and professional. I gave my name, explained I was a beneficiary family member, and said I had concerns about an affidavit Denise filed. Nina went quiet when I mentioned Schedule A. "There is no operative Schedule A in the 2004 trust," she said. "Who told you otherwise?" My grip tightened on the phone. Denise filed an heirship clarification referencing one. Nina exhaled through her nose. "Do not sign anything else this weekend." At her request, I emailed photos of the ledger, letters, and the unsigned amendment summary from the diner Wi-Fi. 10 minutes later, she called back. "The check amounts look like trust disbursements broken into sub-reporting thresholds. If paid without disclosure, that's a fiduciary issue. And if Denise solicited signatures using a different document description than what she presented, that's another issue." I translated in my head, hush payments and document games. Then Nina said the part that made the stakes real. "If the concealed claimant is a biological child of your grandfather, and the trust language includes afterborn issue, any sale before notice could expose all signers to litigation, including your mother." I shut my eyes. Denise wasn't just protecting family gossip. She was rushing signatures, so everyone else would share the risk if this surfaced. When we got back to the lake house, Denise was on the porch waiting, pearls on, smile on. My mom behind her looking smaller than I'd ever seen. And Denise held my unsigned packet like she already knew my answer. Denise didn't scream. That would have been easier. She took me into the sunroom, closed the door, and spoke in the low, controlled voice she used when she wanted to sound reasonable in front of witnesses. "You embarrassed me by running around town with Jamal," she said. "This family is grieving. We do not need your amateur detective face." I crossed my arms, then unlocked Grandpa's office and explained the checks. Her eyes flashed. Those payments were compassionate support. Nothing illegal. Support for who? That is not your business. It becomes my business when you put my mother's name on documents she didn't read. For the first time, Denise dropped the polished tone. Do you think truth is free, Maya? Your grandmother knew exactly what was at stake. Some stories destroy people who never made the original choices. My mom had been standing just outside the door. I realized it when she made this strangled sound, like she'd been holding her breath too long. Denise opened the door before I could. Carla's mascara had smudged. I don't think I'd seen my mother cry in front of Denise since I was a kid. Carla, Denise said softly, instantly performing concern. She doesn't understand the whole context. Mom looked at me instead. I knew there were letters, she whispered. I did not know about sale papers. I felt my anger split in two directions at once. Dinner that night was torture. Denise seated me across from her and kept passing dishes like nothing had happened. Jamal texted me from 2 chairs away, she's watching you. I texted back, keep her talking. Then Denise raised a toast to loyalty in hard seasons, staring straight at me. I almost backed off right there. My mom looked wrecked. Half the family clearly had no idea what was happening. I could already hear the future accusations. Dramatic, vindictive, always had a chip on her shoulder. Then Denise's phone lit up on the table beside her plate. She snatched it too late. The preview banner was visible for 1 second. County Recorder e-file receipt. Transfer on death deed submitted. Parcel 17 to 442. Parcel 17 to 442 was the lake house. Then Denise looked at me and knew I'd seen the message. I didn't sleep that night. I sat on the screened porch with my laptop, cicadas screaming, and built the ugliest, most important slideshow of my life. Not a dramatic one, a documented one. Slide 1. The packet Denise called routine insurance paperwork, with the phrase consent to administrative sale contingencies highlighted. Slide 2. The county index entry for the airship clarification she filed 6 weeks earlier. Slide 3. The cashier's check ledger, 6 payments of $7,500 to P.O. Box 418, Marlow branch code visible. Slide 4. Excerpts from the letters mentioning medical records, a sealed birth file, and Denise acting as intermediary. Slide 5. The DNA match printout. At 7:12 a.m., Nina Brooks called me back. I reviewed what you sent, she said. I'm driving up. Do not accuse anyone privately again. You need witnesses. If there is a signer meeting, ask for document review before execution. I will identify myself as former trust counsel. Former? I asked. I was replaced last year, she said. I was not told why. That answer landed like a brick. Jamal found me at breakfast and whistled when he saw the slides. You made evidence PowerPoint. I made family war, I said. He leaned on the counter. What's the plan? Denise wants signatures before the farewell lunch. We let her gather everyone. Nina shows up as a neutral review. If Denise lies about the packet in front of the group, I pull up the documents. If she tells the truth, maybe this stays contained. Jamal raised an eyebrow. And if she tries to shut the projector off? I copied everything to 2 flash drives and emailed it to myself, Nina, and you. He grinned for the first time in hours. Archivist paranoia. I'm proud. By noon, Denise had rearranged the dining room into a signing station. Packets stacked, pins lined up, coffee urns steaming. That fake calm she uses before a storm. She announced, we'll do this quickly, then slideshow and dessert. My mom kept twisting her napkin. I caught her eye and said, quietly, please don't sign until Nina gets here. Denise heard me. Of course she did. Then the front door opened, and Nina walked in carrying a red legal file. Denise recovered in under a second. Nina, she said, all polished warmth. What a surprise. Nina set the red file on the table. You told this family I was available for drafting questions. I'm here for drafting questions. Some relatives looked relieved, like an adult had entered the room. Denise tried to keep control. Wonderful. This is routine administration, everyone. Let's not make a production. I heard myself laugh, sharp and tired. Too late. Denise turned to me. Maya, enough. No, I said, and plugged in my flash drive. The projector woke up with the same family slideshow template Denise always used, which felt almost mean. I replaced her smiling cover photo with a scan of the signature packet. Denise told people this was insurance paperwork, I said. It's consent for sale contingencies tied to the lake house. That is standard protective language, Denise snapped. Nina stepped closer to the screen. Not when presented under a different description. Murmurs. Chair scraping. My mom covered her mouth. I clicked to the county filing index. She also filed an affidavit of heirship clarification 6 weeks ago, referencing a trust schedule that Nina says does not exist in the operative trust. Denise's jaw went rigid. You do not understand estate administration. Then explain the payments, I said, and clicked again. The room got quieter with every slide. 6 cashier's checks. Same amount. Same P.O. box. Denise said, private compassionate support, but her voice had lost its smooth edge. I put up the letters and read one line out loud. Denise told me the trust cannot acknowledge me if Carla contests. Then I showed the DNA printout. Jamal spoke first, voice low. Who is she, Denise? Denise looked at my mother, not me. Your father's daughter, she said finally. Before your mother was born. The family buried it. Your grandmother demanded silence. I kept the arrangement because if this came out, everything would unravel. Everything? I asked. Or your control? Her mask slipped. I was fixing a mess none of you had the spine to touch. Across the table, my mother whispered, You forged my signature page order, didn't you? Once my mother said the word forged, the room stopped being a reunion and turned into tree-off. Everybody talked at once. An uncle I hadn't heard from in months shouted that Denise had saved this family for years. Jamal's mother yelled back that saving wasn't the same as tricking people into signing. 2 cousins left with their kids. Someone knocked over a pie. Denise kept trying to regain the floor. Please, listen to me. This is nuanced. But nuance had left the building. Nina did what trained people do in chaos. She got specific. No one signs anything today, she said. The proposed transfer is disputed. I'm contacting the recorder to flag the filing and requesting a temporary hold through counsel. She turned to Denise. Do not destroy records. Do not contact the claimant until representation is confirmed. The claimant, Denise repeated, like the word itself offended her. My mom sat down hard in a dining chair and looked 20 years older. I crouched beside her, and she flinched before realizing it was me. I didn't know about the deed, she kept saying. I knew there was a woman. I didn't know about the deed. Denise pointed at me with a shaking hand. This is what you wanted, Maya. Public humiliation. You always preferred documents to people. That line hit because there was a grain of truth in it. I do trust records more than performances. I also knew, standing there with everyone staring, that I had detonated something I couldn't put back together with a neat label. Jamal stepped between us before I answered. By sunset, half the cars were gone. Nina had copies of everything. Denise had locked herself upstairs. My phone buzzed nonstop with family texts split into camps. Thank you. How could you call me? Don't call me. You ruined Grandma's house. You saved Grandma's house. Monday morning, my supervisor called to ask why I'd missed 2 shifts covering an exhibit install. I lied and said, family emergency, then sat in my apartment parking lot and cried so hard I couldn't start the car. That night, Nina emailed one line that stopped my spiral. Recorder paused processing, but Denise's filing included an attachment you need to see. The attachment was a scanned family tree schedule Denise had created herself, formatted to look official. She'd listed descendants, marked one line deceased/no issue, without a name, and attached it behind a legitimate cover sheet from older trust paperwork. Nina called it presentation by splicing, the lawyer version of building a fake context around real documents. What followed wasn't one clean courtroom scene. It was months of calls, affidavits, and ugly, careful conversations. Nina helped my mother and several relatives file objections and freeze transfer activity on the lake parcel until heirship issues were reviewed properly. Denise hired her own attorney and claimed she was acting under verbal instructions from Grandma. Maybe parts of that were true. Truth and manipulation can live in the same sentence. The hidden daughter didn't show up at the house, and I'm glad. Through counsel, we learned she wanted medical history, acknowledgement, and a fair review, not a dramatic reunion. Her daughter had done the DNA test that triggered the match printout Denise kept buried. That detail wrecked me. There was another woman somewhere doing family research like I do, hoping records would tell the truth when people wouldn't. My mom started therapy. I did too. At first, our sessions were mostly silence and anger. Then Carla admitted she'd known since she was 19 that her father had another child out there. but Denise and Grandma framed it as a danger to the family. I thought silence was protection, she told me over takeout. I didn't realize it was training. Jamal stayed solid through all of it. He brought coffee, helped me sort scans, and made me laugh when I got obsessive. You can't metadata your feelings, he said, and unfortunately he was right. By winter, the fake sale push was dead, the deed filing was withdrawn, and future decisions about the lake house required documented notice to all interested parties. I agreed to help organize family records, but only under written rules. The first box my mom brought me contained a picture Denise had hidden for years. The picture in that box was from the lake house dock, late 80s maybe, sun blown out at the edges. Grandpa was younger than I had ever known him, holding a toddler on his hip while my mom and Denise stood beside him. The toddler wasn't either of them. On the back, in my grandmother's handwriting, was one letter, R. No last name, no explanation, just proof that somebody in this family had once told the truth privately, even while performing something else in public. We didn't fix everything. I want to say we did, because neat endings sell better, but that wouldn't be honest. Some relatives still blame me for airing family business. Denise barely speaks to me except through lawyers and clipped holiday texts. The heirship review is still moving slower than anyone wants, because courts and grief share one thing. They don't care about your preferred timeline. But some things changed in ways that matter. My mom and I have dinner twice a month now, just us, no script. She reads documents before signing them. She asks questions out loud. The first time she told a family member, "I need that in writing," I almost cried into my enchiladas. Jamal and I started scanning old albums properly, with dates, names, and a notes field for uncertainty instead of pretending certainty. We made a separate folder labeled unverified instead of forcing every image into Denise's version of neat. Last month we had a smaller gathering at the lake house. 9 people, no matching shirts, no stage slideshow. We grilled, played dominoes, and when someone brought up Grandpa, there was actual silence before anyone spoke. Not the scared kind, the respectful kind. Later, my mom set the repaired dock photo on the mantel beside a new frame labeled R. Family line under review. It was imperfect, cautious, and more honest than anything Denise ever curated. If you're in a family that worships image, here's my practical advice. Never sign under pressure, photograph every page, and treat routine like a warning label. Love people, yes, but verify documents. Truth doesn't always heal fast, and it definitely doesn't heal quietly.